Most people assume backup power is something you only think about during emergencies. A storm hits, the grid goes down, the lights go out, and only then do people start thinking about generators, batteries, or solar backup systems. But recently, something has been changing. More and more homeowners are starting to think about backup power before anything actually fails. And that shift is important, because it says less about technology and more about uncertainty. At the surface level, the reason seems simple. Energy costs are rising. Weather patterns feel less predictable. Power outages, even if short, are becoming more noticeable in daily life. But underneath that, there's a deeper psychological shift happening. People are no longer just asking, how do I reduce my bill? They're asking, what happens if I don't have power when I need it? And that question changes everything. Because backup power isn't just about electricity. It's about control. It's about what happens when the system you depend on stops behaving predictably. And that's where most of the interest in alternatives starts. Not from one big failure but from small, repeated moments of inconvenience. A brief outage during work. A night without heating or cooling. A fridge that stops for just long enough to cause concern. Individually, these moments feel minor. But over time, they accumulate into awareness. And that awareness creates a shift in behavior. People start looking at options they previously ignored. Portable generators, battery storage systems, solar backups, hybrid setups that combine multiple sources. Not necessarily because they expect disaster, but because they no longer want to depend entirely on a single system. And that's where the hidden layer appears. Backup power is not really about preparing for extreme events. It's about reducing dependence on a single point of failure. The real issue isn't just the possibility of outages. It's the lack of control over when they happen. That uncertainty is what drives people to explore alternatives. But once they start researching, they quickly realize something else. Every backup option comes with trade-offs. Generators require fuel and maintenance. Battery systems require upfront investment and capacity limits. Solar backups depend on weather and storage. There is no perfect system, only different levels of independence and complexity. And that realization is often what deepens the search rather than ending it. Because now the question is no longer just, what should I buy? It becomes, what kind of independence am I actually trying to build? And that's where the conversation shifts from products to systems. From reacting to outages, to designing resilience. From short-term fixes, to long-term structure. And that's the real reason people are searching for backup power alternatives. Not because they expect the grid to fail tomorrow, but because they've started noticing how fragile it feels to rely on it without anything in place behind it. Once that awareness sets in, the topic stops being technical, and becomes personal. It's about comfort, stability, predictability, and the ability to keep your home running, even when everything outside doesn't behave the way it should. If you want to go deeper into how different backup systems compare and what actually matters when choosing one, there's a structured breakdown in the description. You can also find a practical guide that explains how these systems are typically evaluated in real-world scenarios. And as always, the goal isn't to push a single solution. It's to understand what's driving the search in the first place. Because once you understand that, the options become a lot clearer to evaluate.